It's car con carne. Let's eat in the car. It's car con carne. And now here's the star of our show, James Van Alstyne.
Hi, I'm James Van Alstyne. This is Car con Carne, episode 709. And Chicago is known for its world-class museums. We've all been to the Field Museum, the Museum of Science and Industry, the Art Institute. But one of the more fringe entries to the museum landscape is new, and it's worth knowing about. The Medieval Torture Museum, it's located in the Loop, 177 North State Street, is the largest medieval torture museum in the United States. I'm not sure how many are in the running for that, but the bottom line is the biggest one is right here in Chicago. Paula Malone is the museum manager for the Medieval Torture Museum, and she joins us on Car con Carne. Hi, Paula. I've got to guess or assume that maybe this museum isn't for everyone. Is that a safe bet?
I think it is a safe bet. You see Facebook comments and, you wonder, why they're even commenting. Why are they on this website? It is not for everybody. So I would hope that you wouldn't come if it's something you really don't want to see, but it is something that a lot of people want to see.
It occupies a unique spot in the local landscape. I guess what's the mission or what's the vision? Why a medieval torture museum, to put it in another way?
So I think the owner was looking to educate and create emotion. Europe is full of some torture museums with torture devices behind glass, and you don't really see, the big picture when you just look at the torture device. So he created a place where you have mannequins being tortured and torturing. So instead of just a rope hanging from a gallows, you actually have a wax figure hanging from a gallows instead of, just the rope. So you can sort of see the terror in his eyes and see what it was like more than just a rope.
As we're recording this on March 1st. The world's a scary place. You know this, I know this.
Yes.
What would you say to someone who says, don't we see enough of people's cruelty to one another on the news? Why this? Why should I go to this?
Well, I think, like it or not, this is part of our history. It is the medieval era. There wasn't a lot of human rights activists going on there. I think if you don't know the history, it's very easy to repeat it. So I think knowing your history is something that is important. And, we did make it interactive. So there are some things, you can get on a scale, see if you weigh as much as a witch. You can get in a cage and see how that feels. We did bring in an electric chair. You can sit in the electric chair. I mean, so we added a little bit of an element of to lighten it up a little bit, I guess. But there's an audio guide with, history and stories about the people that you're going to see. The last man who died on the guillotine, you can hear his story, why he was killed on the guillotine. Some activist who at the time was put on the wheel because he tried to save some people from the execution of the king who just had these crazy ideas. So you get his story, why he did it and what happened to him because of it.
When you say interactive and you get on the scale to see if you weigh as much as a witch, how interactive is it? If I weigh as much as a witch, do I get burned afterwards, or am I cool to keep walking through?
You're fine walking through. We did have to follow some Chicago fire codes. So all the candles are, fake.
You mentioned the wheel. We all know what a guillotine is, I think.
Right.
But maybe people don't know what a wheel is. What is the wheel?
So it is just a giant wooden wheel where they would strap you down onto the wheel, and then they would take hooks and stuff and shred your muscles and break your bones. So and let you sit like on public display attached to this wheel while, the environment and the animals in the environment, just, had at it with you. So it was just a big torture place.
Well, let's talk about, there are hundreds of exhibits. Let's talk about some of the things that are in there. Like I in my head, I think I know what some torture devices are. I mean, I knew of the wheel. I know of the rack. Thumb screw was a thing back in the day. But what can people see? Like what sorts of torture devices are they going? I feel macabre and demented even asking you this question. What kind of devices will people see walking through the museum?
Well, of course, you got the Iron Maiden, which is very popular, and then the Bull of Phalaris, otherwise called the Sicilian Bull, where it was a metal bull that King Phalarid had made to burn people alive, to make an execution and entertainment sort of element. Yeah. So you got burning at the stake. You've got, torture shoes, masks of shame, violins of Gossiper, the Cradle of Judah. Let's see, Spanish horse is very popular. The Spanish tickler, the hand mockery, where they, you can see what they did before they cut off your hands, they actually put like splinters underneath your nails and or nails through your hands, so a lot of stuff. I can't even think of any more right now. I'm trying to picture everything, but there's a lot of stuff to see.
These all sound horrific, and they are horrific. They're torture devices. By your estimation, with your experience, is there one that you think it's show-stoppingly awful, like worse than all the rest?
People ask me that all the time. I mean, right outside the office door is the guy being sawed in half. The picture kind of haunts me a little bit. But, be skinned alive, being burned in a metal bowl. I don't know. I would hope I would pass out before any major pain. But, yeah, I think they have a good, quick pass out element.
Are there people who walk through there kind of looking through their fingers, like holding them up?
No, I actually haven't seen that. But I think most people who do come kind of know what they're expecting. But there have been a couple people who went up the stairs and came down the stairs, so.
Because it does. I mean, just seeing the images on your website, it looks like walking through a haunted house. Like just every exhibit is eye catching and chilling and
right. The only difference, haunted houses, there's people trying to scare you. We're not trying to scare you, so the mannequins don't move.
Right.
But it is, it's terrifying. It's there's a fear factor involved, same as a haunted house, I think.
How long does it take to go through?
So there is an audio guide, which is 42 stories. We did a ton of historical research to get you some stories. If you listen to the whole audio guide, and then you walk through and pull, turn, and lift. And then there's also a ghost hunting app that you can do where you catch ghosts and see why they're haunting the museum. So if you do everything, it's definitely over an hour. We've had some people spend 2 hours here. The average person, though, takes about 45 minutes to an hour. They don't do everything. Sometimes they just hit the fun stuff, which is fine. But if you want to do everything, it's definitely over an hour.
Is the ghost hunting thing that's kind of like an augmented reality thing?
It's an app you download on your phone. It's got like a little plasma detector. That's cool. Then you catch a ghost. And when you catch the ghost, you can open up a legend and read why they're haunting the museum and take your picture with the ghost or of the ghost. So it's just a fun element that, sort of lightens it all up again. Same as the interactive piece.
The location, I think, is so interesting. I mean, because you're right there. You're in the loop. You're by the Chicago Theater, the ABC buildings next door that I used to work in. How's the response been? Because you are a newish entry to the Chicago downtown landscape.
Yeah, every week we're getting busier and busier. The weekends, of course, are picking up really well. I think location is part of it. I think the weather, is helping. We just, we no longer have the mask mandate, and the COVID restrictions are all lifted. So I feel like this weekend it's going to be super busy. So we're right on State Street. A lot of people in these hotels are just walking by, and you can see them like double take, when you're sitting at the counter, they walk back and they look at it, and then our barcode's right on the door. You can see them getting the barcode and buying tickets. So it's exciting.
Yeah, staying at the Renaissance, enjoy a lovely dinner downtown, then take in the museum. All right. So again, the museum is the Medieval Torture Museum. It's 177 North State Street. The hours, Paula, are?
Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Perfect. Thank you for doing this.
No problem. Thanks for having me. This was fun. This was really fun.